Happy Monday, everybody. I am Stephanie Davis, owner of Heartwork Trending Counseling and Consulting. And this is our second segment of the Back to Basics show. And this is the wonderful Maisha.
Yes, hello. I am owner of Powered by Humanity, and we are here today to talk about budgeting, savings, and sanity.
All right. So I know that we just had Thanksgiving holiday. Families were kind of all over the place, and we had Black Friday, and now we had Small Business Saturday.
Yes.
Shout out to all my entrepreneurs. Yay. And then now this is Cyber Monday. So everybody is trying to figure out savings tips and also how to save their sanity. So Mike, over the weekend, you were talking about ways that you save. Tell us what you came up with.
So this time last year, I made the decision to buy a Keurig machine and also buy some Keurig coffee cups. Starbucks is my favorite place to go to. I was spending close to $150 a month on Starbucks, so I wanted to make a change. So I purchased the cups and making that small change, I went from $150 a month to about $38 a month. Now making my coffee at home by myself. So little small changes like that make big impacts. Because if you put that $144 a month into a savings account and don't touch it, then at the end of the year, you'll have that money saved and you really won't miss it because you're so used to spending it out on coffee.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. Another thing during the holiday that my family and we like to do is the pull names, Secret Santa.
Secret Santa,
So instead of being responsible for 20 to 30 gifts, now you're only responsible for one. That was some of the changes and things that we like to do. And the biggest one is the coupon books. And Stephanie and I were talking about the coupon books earlier today. So I customize and I make coupon books for my girls and their teens, and they still enjoy it. But I also used to do it when Ariana was younger. So a free week without doing chores, a free pass at the movies, and by doing the custom gift card, the little gift booklets, it just shows, like you said, the appreciation. So a simple way to save.
And I think that's a good idea because that also helps when we try to tie it hand in hand. Saving economically also helps us save on our emotions and our energy. And so just kind of being proactive with our spending helps us be able to breathe a sigh of release. We don't have to deal with the expectations of, oh, I have to get this $800 phone because this person, or like, for example, what my child's friend has this, we don't have this tendency to want to keep up with the Joneses. We've already set our budget, we've already saved, and we've already allocated this amount that we're going to spend. And so be it just with one individual or just if we decide we want to do Secret Santa or give it to the community, we've allotted how much energy we want to give to something and then how much we want to give to something economically. And so that alleviates a lot of stress. And so I know for me, you have your financial piece of saving, but I also think that the coupons and we call it positive reinforcement. And so that's also a way to show value, which is really the whole purpose of the holidays anyway, not to, I know some people are kind of gorgeous, like, oh, I get gifts, they're excited about getting presents, but really the holiday season is about showing value. So those coupons is something that's personalized. It's something that says, okay, I recognize and appreciate you. So these are some things that I'm going to offer to you, and it's heartfelt. So I want to encourage that, not only just setting boundaries for what you spend as far as money wise, but how much energy that you spend into really giving heartfelt messages to people and really showing value to people. I know this is a festive time for a lot of people, but some of us, and I know your hard work is working with veterans and and active military, those in the military. And so just spreading that love, because sometimes the holidays is not always an exciting time for everybody. And so going out, what was the thing you said?
Participating in community service events, giving back so that you show your children, or even if not your children, it leaves you with the sense of, okay, I gave back to the community. I feel empowered. I feel really good because I'm not only taking, but I'm giving. And then it brings up children that are more steward-like, and that we need more of, not the always want, but to appreciate the things that they have, and necessarily show them that the holidays are just not about receiving gifts and spending lots of money. Another thing that I like to do is the gingerbread house competition, where I get my nieces and nephews, and I let them compete, and I get all of the supplies for the gingerbread houses. But you could turn that into a family event. If you have sisters or brothers or cousins or even girlfriends, and you want to all get together and do a gingerbread house competition. That's a simple way of showing your thanks, but not spending a lot of money, and great memories will be made, and good times, some laughs. So just thinking outside of the box during the holidays.
And I think that, and like you were saying, I think being creative in a way is not only just to, a lot of people say, oh, well, you just do that because that's the holidays, or you only do that because that's the holidays. But I want to make these times a platform to continue to grow that, like you said, that stewardship, to go out. I know for us, like community service and going out, and not being mandated or forced, but just because you want to be a good person, that's your hard work. So using the holiday season as an opportunity to help those, or visit different shelters, the Star Hope. One of the things is the seasons change as far as the weather, so there is more of a need per se. Blankets, and then everybody wants some type of gifts. You may not be able to give, but if you're already blessed throughout the year, this is a time where normally people wouldn't get anything. So this is a time to show out more than you showed out before, and not in an arrogant way, but to just show up. And I think when you show up, you really need to show up. And so that's passionate with me about volunteering and stepping outside of yourself this holiday season. That's another way to save your energy. And that's also another way to save your sanity, because when you give outside of yourself, it's like this warmth inside, and you don't focus on what you're dealing with as much, because you're able to say, okay, I bless somebody else. I've got an opportunity to help someone else. So,
and it gives you the opportunity to go out and make new connections and meet new people.
That's important.
And hear their story and your story, and so that helps with even depression, anxiety, just coping with the holiday blues as well.
So we talked about winter blues and seasonal affective disorder, which people tend to kind of misdiagnose, and so you have to be careful with that. But that's that time where people are affected adversely. And so as opposed to them being festive, you'll notice that they're more like the Grinch, so to speak. And so they're kind of more withdrawn. Those are the people that you want to check on. They typically, you'll go to their house and it's dark. There's no light, probably no Christmas lights. You notice that you start inviting them to functions and they don't show up. I remember experiencing that because I was dealing with the death of my father, and it brought back so many memories that would have been good memories for me, but because I was dealing with that winter blues, I wasn't able to process that as a good time. It was more painful for me, so I had to work through that process. And I did a lot of journaling. I actually did therapy, and I started coming out more. So I appreciate, the strong friends, or the friends that would still invite me to stuff, like knowing I was going to strategically leave, or, like, okay, Stephanie got to go, and so, but I did appreciate that during that time, because I needed that, if not, I would have really been kind of just closed in a shell. And And so I want to be mindful of that this year, you know, with those who experience that, especially like when we were talking about the veterans that have to do with the postpartum depression, or they may not have families.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that are going on, or you have your families that are overseas that they're not able to actually see their families. They might Skype or whatever, but just kind of being mindful of what's happening around you.
Yes.
And sometimes we have this entitlement, especially younger. They say the younger generation has a sense of entitlement, like give me. But for your savings and sanity, one of the things is to give. Yeah. So, you know, you give in order to receive. So that's kind of one of the goals that we want to set out with the Back to Basics show anyway. Yeah. So we got events coming up.
Yes. So I am going to be collecting cards for veterans and active duty family members, but mainly veterans, especially the veterans that are over at the VA hospital that are in the senior living facility that don't have family or friends that stop by and see them. So if you would like to donate cards, I would love homemade cards from children or any type of card that you'd like to donate to some veterans. Please, Stephanie, if you can inbox her and let me know, and I'll pick up the cards and you can drop them off, or I'll set up a meetup in a time and a place for all of the cards. So that's one of the ways that I want to give back to the community this year. Stephanie, you want to talk about your journaling class? Okay,
so my email address, if you do have anything that you want to give to anybody in the military, is heartworktrending@gmail.com, and I will type that in the comments as soon as we get off the show, and so you can send that to me. As far as what I have going on for the month of December, if you have not got Unmasked the Journeys and Its Lessons Part 1. Another way of budgeting savings and sanity is self-care. And so I am a proponent of therapy and journaling and transparency. And that's really one of the things that I teach my clients and their families. And so Unmasked the Journeys and Its Lessons